So this is the last section that we learn. We learn about how to create a new post using the Ajax. And let's see if we use the Ajax or the asynchronous JavaScript. So we updated the script. So at the time we updated this part. Okay, so you already know about this section. So I guess I can a little bit speed up to the next. So the remaining of this one is about this page is about the explanation on how the create function works. So I already explained to you about what is the title and then what is the content. Okay, so we want to use this dollar sign to indicate the section in the HTML file, and then we use the shop to indicate the ID. So we have the shop for the ID, and then we have the dot for the class, and then we want to check if it is empty. If it is not empty, then you can do this part. So we want to go to the URL create. So we already have the definition of create in the views and in the URL, and then we are going to check the data. So this is the data that we will send to the server, and we will send it using this CSRF middleware token. And then the last part is returning back to the read when it is success, returning back to the read, and then make the title and content empty. So the next part is about the update. Okay, so the section about U is update. So updating, we can deal with two things, edit and update. So edit means we just modify something, and update means we want to renew the data in the database. So we have two functions here. Let me just give you two more functions, edit and update. So if you are doing the editing, you are going to get from the database and then show. So just show in the edit part. But if you want to update, so after you show the content, then you want to go to the title and the content of your database and then save. And after you save, you want to go back to the index. Okay? So index is the name that you define in the URL. So let's see if I copy and paste this one. Okay, so you need to copy and paste to the file views.crud. Sorry, views_crud. So this is the collection of your function. You have read, you have create, edit, update, and after you do the views, you need to add the URLs. Okay, so here let's just put this one in the URL as _crud. So you can see here is the same with the existing link. We want to get one ID. Okay. So the ID will be integer. So we have this one as the integer ID. And let's create a new HTML file. And this HTML file is under the folder CRUD. And then we make the p_edit. So we make p_edit and then remove all the existing HTML file and then replace with the file with the content that I shared in the PowerPoint. So I hope that you still remember this is extend. So we are going to use the base, and then this is the body. So if we have the block body, means we will follow what the base is, and then in the body section we will use this content. And we have the CSRF token. So this is how to connect to the server, and then we try to communicate in the secure way. So we have another about ID, and it is hidden. So we cannot see that variable because it is hidden. And then we have the title, and then we have the content, and then we have the update button. Okay, so we will check this one. After we have the P underbar update, yeah, that's the HTML part. Of course, we need to again make the JavaScript. So in the JavaScript, so you need to put some statements under the edit and update. So there is this one belongs to the edit section. So let's see if you copy and paste this one, and then you put it into this script underbar CRUD. So you need to do this one. So under the edit, under the edit section, you can have this one. So I will explain a little bit later. And then I want to put this statement in the update section. So let's put in the update section. After you have this one, you can try. Okay, let's try. And then after we try, you will learn about what is the content of the code. Oh. Mhm. Okay, now you have the button edit. Okay, let's see. I would like to update the 6th post. So if you click the edit, oops, there is something wrong with the link. Wait a moment. So we have up, edit, update. This one edit 6, so it doesn't go to the update. We need to go to the update. So maybe this one. Let's see. It doesn't go to this update. Okay, we need to go to this part. We need to have the click edit and then file. Sorry, we need to add the 2 of this line. So we need to add this edit as well. That's the reason that I cannot do. I forgot to include this one. Okay. So let's see one more time. Yes, okay. Now I can go to this edit page. So if I put the jQuery 01, let me see, update it, and then yes, you can go to this one. So wait a moment, I just changed something. Did I do something wrong? Okay, everything is in the place. Okay, so I don't need to do this a lot again. Yep. So yeah, you need to be very aware about this kind of error. Sometimes I also need I need also some time to figure out what is this error. So for example, in this edit part, you need to do the action, which is click, and then we are going to do the edit. So this is in the edit section here. We want to do this page by accessing what is the ID and then what is the link. So the link will be the edit plus the ID that we got from the name. So it means if we are accessing this one, yeah, we are accessing the ID from this information, and we put this one in the link. So we have group edit 5, and we know that this is the ID number 5. So we use the name. We use the name here. This is to indicate the not this one, but where is the name? So here we have the index. We have the edit. Where is the name? Sorry, this one. So if we want to edit, then I would like to get the ID. How can I get the ID? So the ID has been stored in the table. So this is the table based on the p underbar result.html. So we have the title, we have the content, we have the like, and we have the dislike. And then we create a button here. So this is the button of edit. And we put the name, and the name is based on the ID of this post. Then if we click the row number 5, we will get the ID number 5. If we click on the row number 3, then we will get the ID of the row number 3. So that's the name. And after we have this edit, we want to, for example, do the update. What is the meaning by update? So if you check on this edit function, in this edit HTML, you will have an update button, and you will have ID update. So you still remember when we use this Okay, if you use the dollar, so it is for the jQuery, and then if we use the shop, it indicates the ID. So we want to get the ID update. Where is the ID update? So the ID update is in the button bar. That means if we click the update, then get the title and get the content. So this is the same with the create. Okay, so we want to get the value from the title and the content, and we make a kind of condition. You cannot put empty. So you need to put this exception before you enter the data into your database. So the remaining part is the same with the create, not the same, but similar. For example, you want to do this update. Okay? So when you do this update, so I need to put this dot slash because the button here. Okay? So let's say if I put additional information system 01, for example. So I need to do the update. So this one is updated because we are going to a link. So this has not been seen. We cannot see this link, but this link is under this path. So we need to go to edit, update, and then say what is the integer ID, and then we will do the update. What is the update? Okay, this is the update. We want to get again the information from the ID in the database, and then we want to get the value title from the HTML file, and we want to put it into the post.title. We want to get the content in the HTML, and we want to put it into the post.content. And finally, we want to save. After we save, we want to return to index. What is index? Index is the name. So that's why it is important to have the name, because we can call only the name. Okay. What is the index here? Here we want to go to the root. So this will go to the index HTML, or we go to the first page. Okay. Yeah, this is about the update. And these are the explanation. So as I mentioned to you, we are going to call from the name, and then we are going to check the URL. So this is the URL, which is toward the edit and plus the ID. So this is the ID information. So we use the dollar sign to indicate that this is the variable. Okay. And then, yeah, for every part of the section, so we have the same with the create function. We want to get the values. Okay, so we want to get the values, and then if it is null, then we need to give the alert information. And then, yeah, you want to get, I think I missed this one. So getting the ID from the p edit. So we are going to get the ID from the edit HTML file. After I get this ID, I would like to go to this URL and then use the ID that I got this one, and then I will use post, not get. So I hope that you can review. what is post, what is get. Okay, so in the get, you need to put all the query, but in the post, it is more secure. And then the remaining is about the data, what you are going to insert into the database with the CSRF middleware token. And then if it is success, then you will return back. Okay, you will return back to the original link and then mention that it is already updated. So this is to return to the index. The rest line by line explanation. Now the last one is about the delete function. So let's copy and paste this function and let's put it in the fuse script. So the idea of the delete is the same with what we already learned before the mid exam. And now we are going to use the Ajax to delete this information. How can we use this one? So first we want to get from the database and then just delete it. And after we delete it, then we want to return back to the index. Okay, let's make one new path. Okay, this is one. Okay. We can make one path, and this path is about delete with one integer value, and then we have the name delete. Everything is okay, and now you need to add a new function in the JavaScript. So this is the new function in the JavaScript. So let's go to this part. You can go to the script under the barcode. And yeah, I give this part about delete. So put your file here. And after you have this one, you can check. So for example, let me just delete one. Okay. Maybe I will delete the last one. Delete it. Okay. So now I don't put any confirmation page. Yeah, if you want to put the confirmation page, yeah, you can put. So you can ask the user confirmation before we delete the information, for example. So if you take a look on this JavaScript, the idea is the same. If we go to the delete, so if we click the delete and then we want to get the ID. What is the ID? Again, this is the ID from the pre-result. So here we want to get from the pre-result. We have the ID. Okay. So we already specified this one. This is for the edit, and this is for the delete. You still remember the what is dot and what is sharp in the jQuery? Okay. What is dot and what is sharp? Anybody? You still remember? Class and ID. Okay, good. So this one is representing about the class, and this is representing about the ID. So this one, yeah. If you specify this one in your HTML file, like this one this is the class information. Yeah, I put this one at the same place for the class about pattern. So if you still remember, this is the bootstrap. Okay, so this is the bootstrap. And then we have the other section is about the class name. Okay. So we have the bootstrap and we have the class name at the same section. So this is also the same with this one. This is button warning. And then we have the class name. Okay. So you can do this one in the HTML. And if you want to do this one, of course, you need to be very aware about this one to connect with the JavaScript. So this one is about delete. If I already get the ID, okay, then I will go to the Ajax and I would like to delete. What is the delete? So the delete is something that you need to go to this URL. What is this URL? Okay, this one is the URL. You would like to go to the delete with the ID. So after you have the ID, you know the link, and then you will use the type post, and then you just need to delete everything. Okay, it means you don't care about what the data is. You just go to the middleware section, and then you will update the data. And once it is success, you will go back to the read function and then put one alert, delete it. Okay, so that's about the delete. This is the explanation about the delete function. Yeah, this section completes. So we already learned about the CRUD using the Ajax, and then you learn about the jQuery and how can we implement the jQuery with basic syntax of Ajax. Okay, any questions? Okay, if no question, then I will continue to the next section. So the next section is about data visualization. So let me just do with the data visualization first. Okay, if we finish with this data visualization, maybe next week we will do with how to create the sign in page. So next week we will do with the complete website. So we need to modify many things, and yeah, before we do with the sign up function, I need to complete this data visualization. And next week, we will learn how to modify all the parts to make a very comprehensive website. So the first, we will discuss about the charts. Okay, what is charts in the web? And I would like to give some example about the charts and how can we integrate the charts with the backend. So here we are going to use charts. What is chart? The charts is one of the way to visualize the data. If you are using Python, so you can have the library like matplotlib. If you use Java, yeah, there are some libraries to show the visualization, but for this web, mostly we will deal with the JavaScript. Okay, that's why after the mid-exam, we learn about the JavaScript, and yeah, the JavaScript is very powerful to improve your web page. So in this example, I would like to use Google Chart. So basically, there are many frameworks providing chart templates. For the main part, I will use Google Chart, and I will also explain some other kind of charts. Yes, there are some available charts. So Google Chart is the very basic one. For example, if you want to check, yeah, I give you the link. This one is the link. So in the Google, they have the chart gallery like geo chart, scatter chart, column chart. Okay, and let's say if you click, you can see here in the left panel. Yeah, for example, you go to the bar chart. So this is the bar chart, and then yeah, they have some variant about the bar chart, and they give explanation. How will you adopt this chart into, for example, your page? So this is the code. Okay. So in many part, you can use the code and you can try modify it in your web page according to your data. So they give this example. So today we are going to learn about this one. And there are some functions. It depends on your needs. It depends on your necessary. You may, for example, change the thickness or change the color or change the brightness and everything. Or you want to make the bar chart like this one. So it is the stacked bar chart. Or you want to make double chart like this one. Of course, yeah, you need to understand all the functions given in this JavaScript. And you need to know that um, they are free. Okay. So you don't need to pay at all, but you need to understand by yourself how you can utilize this JavaScript in your web page. For Google, it is free, but for some other resources, you need to pay. So for example, okay, if you are using the JS framework, it is, yeah, you can just try to understand the structure of the JavaScript statements, because some of the framework, they contain a very complex structures because they want to make a very fancy dashboard or very fancy data visualization. However, yeah, most of the frameworks apply almost the same procedure. That's the good thing. Yeah. And some of the most widely used open source framework for charts, yeah, I can say this one. So if I want to mention the summary, so I took this one from one non-moon from one paper. We have raw data, so I assume that you will do this one in your database. You already have your data, and then you need to create a data tables. The last, I think 2 weeks ago, or yeah, in our previous example, we also create table. If you can make a data tables in the JavaScript, then it will be also good. And after you have this data table, you need to make it as a visual structures. So the visual structures means you make like an array. So I will explain this one. After we have this kind of array, then we can make a kind of view. So the view can be in the like bar chart or any kind of chart. So these are the possible charts in Google. For example, let's say a candlestick chart. They have this kind of information. If you have the column chart, so you also have the different style of charts, combo charts. This is the combo. It means they contain the bar chart with the line chart and etc. So today we are going to learn about this one. If you want to take a look the variants of the JavaScript library, I give you the list, this link. So you can take a look on the Wikipedia. These are the information. For example, you can see based on the license, and you can check whether it is free or not. So, for me, I just use the free version because we don't need to do the very complex thing with the commercial because there are many free charts. So, for example, C3 and chart.js, chart this, and etc. So you can see this is free. Yes, yes, yes. And let's say this one, chart for PHP. It is free basic edition. So it means there is another version for the commercial. So if it is in green color, then it is free. But there are some written commercial. So it means you need to pay some money. So in the visualization, we need to at least do these 4 steps. The first is how to load the chart library, and then we need to prepare the data, and then this is the most important thing. We need to customize charts. Every JavaScript framework, they have the way to create the chart. So it's very customized. Every chart have every own statement. So you need to understand this part. So that's why in this example, I would like to give you many charts so you can understand the structure. You can understand how if you want to apply this chart and what you need to understand. So if you are familiar with the structure, I hope that you can choose your own charts. And the last one, we will draw the charts. So draw the charts, it depends on the charts. Or for example, what you want to show. Do you want to show the text? Or do you want to change the color? Or if you move your mouse, what will happen? Okay, so that kind of drawing. Some of the framework provide the JavaScript parameter for that one. Okay, so let's see one by one. And the first, I would like to explain about the bar chart. So in the bar chart, I will just follow the sequence that we already did before. First, we will create in the views.py, and then we will make a link in the URLs, and then make a new HTML file. Okay. So let's do one by one. In the, I will just use the basic grass. So I will use this project, and then if the previous section we learned about the CRUD in the Ajax, so now I just want to use the views.py, and let's make a new function, view bar. So this is the function. You can just copy this one, and then you go to the you can just go to the post folder, and then go to the views here. You have there are many of this one. Okay, let's just use this one. Let me split this one. Maybe I will just use this separator. So I would like to make a few bar. Before I make this one, I think I need to call the render. Oh, I already have the render. Anyway, no problem. I can just use again this one. Or if you don't need this one, yeah, I think that's fine. So we will have this function, and this function will just call viewbar.html. And I think in the urls.py, you have several paths. Please add one more line. Okay, you have a lot of this path. So let's put one more. Maybe I will make a separator. Okay, this is the link to the view bar, and then I will connect to the function view bar in the views, and the name, yeah, oh, sorry. So the name will be view bar. And after that, let me just give you one simple example in the viewbar.html. So you can just copy and paste this one. And let's make a new directory. Okay, let's make a new directory chart. So in the template, let's make a new directory chart. And let's make a new HTML file. View bar. And then copy and paste the code here. Okay, so first, you need to create the chart directory in the folder templates, and then create the view bar HTML, and then update the file. So that's what we usually do in order to make the HTML file. Okay. Now, if you finish, let's run the Django, and you can just go to this link. Let's see. Okay, so this is the example from the Google chart. And you may wonder what is the data for this one. So let's go to this viewbar.html. Okay, I think this is the time for the break. Maybe let's have the break. I will continue after the break.